All right, let's get started. Welcome to our May Town Hall. And for those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Kanyam Mdlungu. I lead impact partnerships here at Turn in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And again, great to see familiar faces and new people as well joining us. We'll have more people joining us as we go along. Now, before we kick off the session, just a couple of reminders. As always, we are recording this session. And also, if you do have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat window below. And then lastly, we love making these sessions interactive. So please switch on your cameras and also raise your hand during the Q&A section if you would like to chat to our team. Now, with that said, we have a great lineup for you today. But first, our community is ever growing, and we would like to welcome our newest community members who've recently joined us. Next slide, please, Nrani. But whilst Nrani is pulling up the presentation and our newest community members, we'd love to welcome Grow Great, which is a South African organization focused on reducing stunting in South Africa by 2030. They are focused on ensuring that children grow and learn well because they are getting the food they need to be healthy. Now, what's interesting about them is they've identified 10 food items that will give the family a boost, and have partnered with government and producers to make these items cheaper, and are using WhatsApp to promote these. We also have Girl Effect, which is a nonprofit organization launched in 2015, which centers around building media that girls want, trust, and need. And Gustav, our co-founder, will chat more about that in a bit. We also have an organization called Primary Care International, which is helping healthcare providers combat the growing threat of non-communicable diseases. They do this by delivering evidence-based training, providing strategic health systems support, and by testing innovations in primary healthcare. We also have another organization that's based here in South Africa called Heartline, which is a social change organization that encourages people to live out positive values. They are building a chat service on WhatsApp focused around Fathers Matter, which essentially uses WhatsApp to share the story of fathers in children's lives and the role that they play. We look forward to having these organizations as part of our community. And I'll now hand over to my co-founder, Gustav, to chat a bit more and welcome these as well. Over to you, Gustav.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Kanya. Much appreciated. Awesome to see so many people on the call today. I just felt like April was like a super weird, slow month. I don't know, maybe it's just the South Africans, but like there are too many holidays. So nice to be seeing everybody, and hopefully we can get some work done. Obviously amazing to see these organizations joining us. Especially wanted to say welcome back to Girl Effect. Our journey with them goes back more than a decade when we started working with them in our previous nonprofit, and really amazing to see them come back onto Turn and grow their impact. Also interesting to see organizations that were doing things during COVID and launch services. I think a lot of you on the call were like that, where you might have launched a service specifically around COVID, but then either shut down the line or close it down the line, and now starting to rethink and building out services. So Grow Great and Heartlines are both organizations that originally did some work during COVID and now are launching services and growing them. So super exciting to see the community growing, more than almost 250 organizations that are now on the platform with us, and really excited to see how they grow. Also the last month, just some exciting new projects I want to speak about. One is super excited about Mega Edu. They've launched, thanks to João, who joined us, they launched in Brazil. Really amazing project. We'd love to see them grow, not only in Brazil and the states they're in, but across Latin America. Really interesting use of WhatsApp, where they are growing the access of internet in schools in Brazil. And their pilot program, they're really going to scale their pilot programs, aiming to reach 100,000 students. So super excited about Mega Do and really look forward to seeing them grow their service. Also, last month that we had GDDF, it was a conference that Pippa spoke at the Global Development Forum for us. We were very proud there to showcase some of the work that we've done during Ukraine and the development of the crisis playbook. As you guys know, one of the things that WhatsApp and Turn are great for is responding to a crisis in real time. And obviously the work that we did together with Ukraine during the crisis was incredible to be able to respond to that. But we're seeing increasingly other organizations respond in real time to these things. And we're very proud to see Basic Rights Watch and Care Bangladesh talk about their work at the conference as well. We'll post the link there. I think Kanya just posted, so please go and have a look at the talk. Really exciting and amazing applications of the technology. Then we also had for the engineering focused people here in the room, ElixirConf, Euro. I think we spoke at ElixirConf previously. This year, Simon and Federico were talking at ElixirConf specifically around the work that we did around DSL, so domain-specific language that we've developed, an open source that makes it possible for any of the organizations to build out custom bots or automations using stacks. And quite a technical talk, really interesting. We think especially interesting now with the growth of co-pilots and AI co-pilots and using them to generate DSL code. So please go and have a look. We'll post a link here. Also, we would like to share here to the community, we are really thinking about hosting an ElixirConf here in Africa towards the end of the year. Please let us know if there's something that you guys would be interested in attending and having a very technical track. As you guys know, we had the summit last year in Cape Town, and there was a technical track, but we are thinking of expanding that and potentially hosting ElixirConf. So if the community would be interested in that, please let us know. Please go and have a look at that talk and have a look at how we are seeing the use of the DSL code base for building custom applications. And then I think I'm going to hand over to Nielke. Obviously, at the heart of everything is the product, which allows you to build impact services and some cool new features I've been launching, especially around the help desk. Over to you, Nielke, to talk more about that.
Thanks, Gustav, and hello, everyone. It's lovely to be together. I must say, I share Gustav's sentiment of feeling that April is a bit of a haphazard month, and it's so lovely to see faces. Learning I want to share, interesting enough, because we're a small team living in many countries. I've learned that the 1st of May is a public holiday in almost everywhere in the world, which was something small I learned, but I love it that our teams is distributed because it also teaches us a lot about the work that you guys do and like what your setup looks like in different countries. But what I'm here to talk about today is the product and sharing what we're busy with behind the scenes and what we're spending our time on. So this quarter at Turn is really about thinking about the help desk. Human-to-human conversations is incredibly important to us. I think we've spent a lot of time on automated messaging, which is great. But right now we focus on upgrading the help desk, one small improvement at a time. And it's really also with the help of Penda Health and Nuera and Reach Digital Health. So thanks to everyone that spends time with us on the problems you guys need to solve. Let's look at what we're changing and how we work towards making it all better. Something that you would have noted in the product for sure is really about the last time people interacted. I think you guys think about it more than we do, like really about engagement. And you will see the last seen time zone or times in a very specific date time, but also in more generalized. And then something else we've added, I think so now my audio is doing.
Go ahead and get on the meeting for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I'm just gonna, move for a moment. Apologies. Here we go. Next up that we've added is around the help desk and how do you divide and conquer as a team. it's really great to have a human in the loop. It just ups the quality of your service, and we're making it easier to know which conversations are handled by whom and who still needs to be assigned. So right now in the chat list, you can see if a conversation is assigned to someone or if it still needs to be assigned to someone. And then adding on to that, and that's on the work that's coming soon, and the things you haven't seen but that we are working towards, is really on how we facilitate uninterrupted conversation. There's really nothing worse than someone chipping in mid-conversation, almost like what just happened now between people coming in midway. And it's specifically difficult if that someone is an automated message. So we're working to improve the human bot handover in turn, so you can have more real helpful conversations. So be on the lookout, and thanks for everyone that's providing input into these features and making it better. And then the last one I want to share is also for you guys who use the help desk often and really know how the profile looks. Keeping the human at the center is so important. And we're working on small ways to make that easier at a glance. So how do you remember who you're talking to, the information you've gathered about them in prior conversations? How do you see it at a glance? And just making it simple for you to have a focused conversation with someone. So just to summarize, we really focus on the help desk, making that a better experience in turn. And the whole motivation is that there's more human-to-human conversations. There's more impact being have by all the good work that you guys are doing. And with that, I'm handing over to Manish.
Thanks, Nilka. Greetings and a warm welcome to all. I'm delighted to be present here with all of you. As you may already be aware, we provide playbooks that can be downloaded and utilized by anyone within our community to cater to their specific needs. In this town hall, we are pleased to announce the release of a new playbook focused on formative assessment. This particular playbook is designed to assist clients with the educational use cases who wish to conduct assessments using WhatsApp chat service. To give you a better understanding of its content, we'll now proceed to watch a brief video showcasing the key features of the formative assessment playbook.
Hi there. We're excited to announce the first iteration of our formative assessment playbook. It's aimed at educational organizations or organizations who are simply interested in assessing the knowledge of their users, whether it be educational content or, for example, health content. The idea is that we can support more effective teaching and learning practices. I'll quickly run through an example of the stack and then discuss some of the finer aspects of what this playbook provides. So here we have an initial kind of prompt to get somebody started with the assessment. I've added some very simple questions which anyone should be able to answer correctly, but we provide the ability for you to edit and add your own questions in this playbook. Here I'm going to, just as a demonstration, get the answer wrong. I'm told that I'm wrong, given a little nudge towards what might help me getting the right answer, and here I'm simply going to give the correct answer again. I'm given some additional information and moved on to the next question. I'm going to very quickly work through this. And here we have an outro, as well as giving someone the final score for their assessment. What we recommend is that you actually remove that final message. It's simply to show you that there is in fact a score that's been kept as to how well someone has done in progressing through the formative assessment. I'll finally just take you through some of these details within the stack that you might be interested in when configuring this playbook for your own service. So there are some very detailed breakdowns of how you can configure this service. But very briefly, here we have a table with questions, options, the correct answer, the score given for a correct answer, and the incorrect score, as well as a rationale for when they give the correct or the incorrect answer. So where in that conversation you saw some nudges towards directing someone towards the right answer, or giving them additional information. That's what you saw here with the rationale. So you can simply edit these questions or add more rows to this table to flesh out the assessment that you want to provide for your users. We also provide all of the assessment copy in a single dictionary that you can edit so that the playbook reflects the persona of your bot. Finally, there are some configurations for the behavior of the assessment. So you may want to, for example, change the number of retries that you give an individual. And you may want to give them, for example, a particular starting score where, should they reach a particular negative threshold, you want to loop them out of the assessment. A couple of things to note here. This is quite a flexible table, so if you want to give only 2 answers, this stack will simply handle that for you. And where you don't want to or can't provide a rationale for a correct or an incorrect answer, you can simply leave those fields blank. You're not obligated to fill them in, and the stack handles that for you. There are a couple of gotchas. At the moment, we can only provide 3 options, quick reply answers, but we are looking to improve this in a future iteration of the formative assessment, where you could, for example, give free-form answers or reply in a list, so you'd have 10 possible answer options. That's an initial run-through of our formative assessment playbook. We would love for you folks to try it out and give us some feedback.
Like mentioned in the video, this playbook can be customized to accommodate quizzes for various use cases as well. I trust that this information will prove beneficial to you. Thank you. Over to you, Lakshmi. Sorry, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Manish. So just quick note before I go into the community showcase, the formative assessment playbook is actually one of our first tools that we've created to help you as an educational organization to have a greater impact. If you're interested in joining us, we are thinking about putting a roundtable together for educational organizations where we can brainstorm more ideas, build on top of that. In fact, this playbook was created through sessions with ED and also Rising Academy. So really kind of listening to user community and then taking that knowledge and applying it to tools that is applicable and usable by all. So let us know if you're interested, and we will get in touch with dates. So it's a great pleasure for me to introduce you today to our guest speaker, who is Rahul de Villiers, who is the product lead at Rising Academies. Now, Rising Academies is one of the fastest growing educational organizations in Africa. They're currently interacting with just over 250,000 users. They've got 700 schools across the board, and they are continuously just growing. I've personally had the privilege to work with them since the beginning of the year, where they launched their first AI-driven chatbot. And the aim of this chatbot is to improve the maths of users. And I'm chatting today to Rahul, and I've got a few questions for you. So let's get started, Rahul. Welcome first.
Hi, everyone.
So Rahul, you and I have been working together on this for a while now, but maybe for those of us that aren't familiar with Rising Academies, you can just give us a bit of an overview of what does it do, who are your target audience that you are trying to reach, and how you're currently reaching them?
Okay, sure. So Rising is, as you correctly mentioned, is an education provider, and we primarily operate schools. So that's our sort of our main operations is to run and start schools, and primarily at the moment in Anglophone North Africa. So Liberia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and then also Rwanda is a new area for us. Coming out of that, during the pandemic, the people at Rising, or the management at Rising, decided to have some kind of remote option that's very accessible. So they actually started a radio program called Rising on Air, and which was very successful and very well received. And then kind of as a evolution out of the radio access program, we started to think of other ways in which we can engage students in the system. And that's kind of how Rory was born, because WhatsApp is an extremely well-distributed medium throughout the world, and most people have access to it, and you don't really need a very fancy or complicated technology access setup in order to use WhatsApp. In fact, most people can use it from a reasonably priced smartphone. So that's how Rory started.
Fantastic. So, and tell me a bit in terms of the problems you're trying to solve. Now, radio obviously is a very one-sided channel. Chat is a kind of two-way conversation. How is your problem you're trying to solve different? Is it the same? Are you delivering more engagement? What is it that you're trying to achieve with your WhatsApp service?
So it's primarily designed to be an augmentation to in-classroom training around mathematics. So it gives children the opportunity to practice their maths and do additional exercises outside of the classroom environment. It's not supposed to supplant classroom teaching, of course. Classroom teaching is obviously still the primary medium or the primary way in which kids acquire their math skills. But we are there to augment and enhance that process, and to hopefully teach them some extra mathematics skills when they are out of the classroom.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, as a mother of two kids going through some exams currently, I can get all the help that, especially with maths. So in terms of helping them outside of the school environment, maybe chat me through the content or the flow, the user flow that is currently on Rory, and how is that different from what they're getting taught in the school?
Okay, so Rory is primarily organized currently around what we would call a curriculum. So it's not, I don't know if curriculum is exactly the right word, but we have a set number of skills that we want to teach them, we want to teach about, and those are organized into broad topics and in different levels. And the idea is to go through content that is recognized in the Global Proficiency Framework as good math content, and to go through those in some kind of, a really fun kind of interactive way. So what we do is we intersperse sort of enrichment content and a little bit more engaging things like telling riddles and jokes together with like a small contained lesson. So we will have introductory things, we will then tell a story or tell a joke or something, then we'll do some math lessons, then we'll do that again. So we're trying to intersperse learning content with kind of enrichment content.
And how are you finding that? Is that working for you in terms of, because I know about the jokes, I've received a few of them myself and I quite like them. But how are the kids actually experiencing it?
Yeah, I think we're getting very positive feedback from kids. It's interesting, there are still cases that we can't cater for. So what will often happen, for example, is kids would send us voice messages. And they would send us videos and things like that, which we can't really cater for at the moment. So we still have a long way to go, but yeah, whenever we kind of hit these interesting cases, we're actually very grateful, and we try and work them into our future plans. But primarily as a text-based tool, I think it's been very, very well received. Yeah, definitely.
You mentioned images, content being shared. I presume that you capture opt-in upfront with the teacher. Yes. Or with the parent?
So we have an opt-in process that requires a student to get their parent, and the parent has to do listen to the terms and conditions. We also say that our bot is not perfect, that we tell the student, and if I'm the Rory persona, we tell the student, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I might act strangely. Would you tell me if that bothers you? So we try and make them understand that this is also a process, and it's changing all the time. And sometimes, for example, we just launched some more content. We wanted to launch it fast. So in some places, when kids select some menu items this week, we would say, sorry, we haven't got the content yet. We're still working on it. So hopefully all those messages will be gone by the end of next week. But we do yeah, so it is a work in progress, and we try and make people understand what the situation is and be honest about what Rory is and what Rory isn't.
I love that. You've got a tough audience. School-going kids aren't very forgiving at times.
Yeah.
So you are using a natural language processing as a big part of your service. Maybe tell us a bit more, especially for the novices amongst us. What are you doing and how are you actually implementing that into your service?
Okay, so currently our content, in other words, the stuff we ask the students, is pretty much kind of according to fixed scripts. But what is dynamic is our ability to process answers. So, for example, if we ask a math question, what is 4 to the power 2 or something like that, or if we ask a question, for example, that requires them to respond with a fraction, like 3/8 or something like that. So we now recognize a whole bunch of different ways of writing that. So 3/8 sometimes, or 3/8, or 3/8, or 3 divided by 8. These are all things that we can recognize. So we have a huge library of potential responses, and we depend on the NLU service to kind of generate almost like a best match, or a probability match for us between what we want the answer to be and what the answer actually is. And the other thing we use the NLU for at the moment is to recognize some basic intents that help the students move around the content. So they want to do something harder, something easier, they want to skip the skill, they want a hint. And before we could only do that on basic keywords. Now we can do that on phrases. For example, if somebody says, "I'm really tired, Rory," then the NLU service will return the stop keyword for us, and we would stop the interaction with the student and tell them, "Okay, cool, we'll resume at another point in time." So we have first step is answer recognition for math problems. The second step was keyword recognition for our basic intent, so to speak. And now the next level will be so much more than that.
Fantastic. Wow. So a bit of a curveball, like, what are your thoughts on AI in education? I mean, everyone's talking about ChatGPT in education, and what are your thoughts, and what's Rising's thoughts on how to optimize and also safeguard?
Yeah, so I think, what we're trying to do is we're trying to blend. So the interesting thing about our space is that we're trying to run a whole curriculum via a chat channel. So what you find with many other systems is they'll have structured content that's maybe online in the form of pages or exercises or interactive things that you do online on a computer or a phone, and then they'll have a chatbot as a side thing, right? So if you want to ask a chatbot questions about math problems, you want to understand something, you can have like a conversation. With us, that's all one thing. So we have to have we want to have sort of generative conversations, but we also want to then say, okay, cool, we chat a little bit. Okay, are you ready for a math lesson? Then we go to a very structured form of content, right? So I think the key thing is really restricting what can be done inside of the generative part of your chatbot, right? Because if you're in the structured content, I think it's much safer, because you're telling them, you're giving them very specific things, you're asking them very specific questions, and then the NLU is really just about understanding what the student answers back to you, or what their text is all about. I think the dangerous part is really the generative thing, right? When you are kind of allowing the like a free-form conversation almost between our AI bot and the student. I would say that you really need to kind of instruct whatever technology, whatever large language model you're using. You need to set proper context probably, and you need to monitor usage very, very carefully. But yes, we are all very concerned about this. I personally feel there's a headlong rush into integrating large language models into products. And I think if your rules are not set up properly, you could get into a place where, it might be dangerous. So yeah, so for us, we're starting off very slowly, and we're trying to make it as restrictive as possible and monitoring all the time.
I think you definitely hit there on a key point, is to kind of keep monitoring, and kind of we're all learning as we go, but, kind of if we can share those practices with one another, and that's exactly what we do here at Townhall. So thanks for that. Talk me through some of the challenges that, it's not always kind of, smooth sailing when launching a chat service at this scale. What are some of the challenges that you've experienced?
Okay, so yeah, obviously one which everyone who runs a tech product has is that users use your service in a way that you never anticipated. For example, we will ask somebody to just answer. So we ask them a question, we expect an answer. But what they sometimes do is they reply in WhatsApp. So they'll hit the reply button and reply to your question, and then suddenly you can't deal with that. So those kind of things. So obviously there's those kind of user things that we are that any kind of tech product has to deal with. We sometimes get asked really difficult questions. Because as maybe the students feel like there's building a little bit of rapport with Rory, they suddenly segue and start asking us things that have nothing to do with mathematics, right? And yeah, it's a challenge for us. We don't really know how to deal with these things. So kids might ask us questions about difficult teachers or friends that ask them to do things that they don't like, whatever. So we do get that as well, which is quite challenging. And we're starting to really think about how we handle that, because it's as we grow bigger and bigger, that's gonna happen more and more. In terms of the AI component, I think that the difficulty for me really is understanding how much. So we have a curriculum, right? So do we take the curriculum and does that all happen inside of the large language model? So in other words, do we train the large language model on our content and just trust the large language model to run the content for us, like within some rules? Or do we pass over? So do we have okay, I'm in control, okay, you're in control, okay, now I'm taking control back and we're in control again, So to really understand how we are going to host the content in a way which we know, because remember that the content is somewhat structured and there are certain kind of competencies that we want to teach them. So if we just hand this over to a large language model, are we sure that it's actually going to teach this stuff? Or is it going to go off on its own tangent and do all kinds of weird things? So in other words, how to take the students to automated stuff, how to take them out of automated stuff, those kind of rules are also a big challenge for us. Sure.
Well, hoping looking at some of the product stuff coming up that would be able to help you solve those handing over between a bot and a human, and then your language model. And then closing off, what does success look like? What can we expect from Rising and Roaring for the next 6 months to a year?
Yeah, so I think what we aim to do is it's just a much more engaging experience. And that comes again back to the challenge. It's like large language models can be really engaging and can build rapport with students, right? Which gives us a conduit to teaching them math, right? And this really comes to the heart of the power and the caution about the kind of technologies that we're working with, is that fundamentally we would like to alter behaviors, right? We want to engage students in a certain way that they find math really engaging and do more mathematics, right? So we want to leverage power to make a really engaging, enriching experience, and to give them great math content that they really enjoy and get really engaged with doing more mathematics. And how we do that safely and how we do that really well, I think that's our challenge. But that's our journey. That's the thing we are working on really hard. And we truly have some of the smartest people in this field across the world helping us. And we're very fortunate. And I mean, safety is absolutely core to what we're doing in terms of that.
Thank you so much, Raul. And we are very honored to be on that journey with you as well. We're learning a lot at the same time. I'm going to open the floor now for any questions to Raul. I see there's a few questions here in the chat. Let's have a quick. If you have a question, you can also just unmute yourself and put on your video, and we can get talking. So I'm just going through the chat window here.
I just want to say that as a user, I loved actually interacting with the bot. I know I'm not the target audience, but I learned a lot.
That's great to hear.
So I don't know, it doesn't seem that there's any questions. If there's questions after our town hall today, feel free to mail myself or the Impact team and we can get you in touch with Rahul. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're in the middle of content and a new content module launches and you made the time to join us today. We really appreciate that. Thanks again and good luck. We look forward to seeing the future.
Yeah, and just encouragement to everyone. There's some great technology on turn, and yeah, please try out Stacks, which is the kind of automated thing that we use. Yeah, give it a spin and help them to improve the product. We give lots of feedback to them, so the more people who do that, the better the product will get.
Thanks so much for that.
There is a question. Sorry.
Oh, there is a question. Let's quickly have a look.
At what interval do you change your content? So yeah, that's a really great question. So we started off with really basic content. We had like 6 or 7 topic areas, and then we had about 10 lessons in each topic area. Now we've got we probably have about 30 content areas now. Those are level segmented. We have almost 350 lessons. So we are trying to improve the content all the time. Yeah, so this is like the second version of our content that's just gone live, literally two weeks ago or so. And we'll probably do another refinement maybe in 6 months from now. Yeah, so I think it's probably every 6 months is probably the short answer.
Brilliant. And we'll share the WAMI link also in the chat for those of you who want to try that out. Thank you so much, Rahul, and best of luck this week. Gustav, over to you.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Rahul, and the team at Rising Academies. So it's amazing to see the work starting to grow from the very first things that and again, it's interesting this idea that a lot of our work and your work and the teams that are here, original work started, early days in COVID with some experiments when we all, schools were shut down, hospitals were shut down, and we needed to get information out to users. And now growing on those early days and seeing how we build long-term interactive platforms. So I think that's really spectacular how we're seeing it growing. And then obviously we are also really interested to see how people are using LLMs, ChatGPT. Please reach out to us. We're thinking about doing some more work around that, exploring. We exist to help scale your impact, and a lot of the tooling, all the tooling that we've been building over the last couple of years has been to help you solve your problems. And as Rahul saying, if you have a particular challenge and you want something, you can't get it out of what's a business API. What tools can we make available? And clearly LLMs are going to be transformational and have a big impact on our field. If you are doing current experiments with either ChatGPT or other models, if you are self-hosting, if you are thinking about self-hosting, please reach out to us. We are thinking a lot about how to do that. You might have seen 2 town halls ago, we were talking about a quick integration that we did. A lot of you experimenting there, and we are thinking about modes of supporting you there. And so let us also know what you'd like to see. Do you want to self-host? Do you want to just use a hosted version? And how you intend to grow this out? With that, I'd like to quickly also. It's not a formal announcement yet, but we are sharing with you a little bit about where we are heading this year with the Accelerator. It's that time of the year again. It's now the 3rd year running, and we're very happy to, it's not a formal announcement yet, so don't tweet it. It's because you guys are on the community that we're sharing it now. The announcement will only happen in June, but we wanted to let you know for those who haven't applied for the accelerator before or didn't participate. This year, the theme is going to be Health Plus. And specifically, we're thinking about the idea of improving health through increasing agency for end users by supporting them through either help desks or counseling or support to end users. And we are looking for really interesting use cases. Start thinking about how you would potentially use this. We are very happy that Agency Fund is supporting the accelerator this year. It's the third year that we're running it, and WhatsApp is again the transport partner of choice for all of you in this call. We'll be announcing early in June, and we are looking for the next generation of really exciting and impactful and scalable solutions that are improving health and well-being for people around the globe. So really excited to have that, a little bit of a sneak preview there, and we'll have and please look out for the main announcement. We will be sharing that obviously to our community first, and as soon as we share it, then please feel free to share it onwards to your communities. Then also, what's coming up in the next couple of months or next couple of weeks? World Health Assembly is next week for 10 days. If any of you are going there, please reach out to us. I know some of our organizations that are currently running, I know Reach is going to be there. We'll have some representation. Let us know. There are some interesting sessions there. And if you're there, let us know so that we can connect you guys up. So that's World Health Assembly. That's happening next week. And with that, I would also, I think that's the end of our session for today. I want to thank everybody for being here today and sharing, especially Rahul and the team at Rising, the amazing work that they've been doing over the last couple of months has been truly inspiring. Please reach out to us. We have all the socials, all the means of connecting with us. Maybe a last question for you guys here. We've asked you for some support in terms of thinking about how you'd like to use the accelerator, also how you'd like to use AI. One of the other things that we're considering at the moment is how do we create more of a community around Chat for Impact? And what do we mean by Chat for Impact is any organization that's using private, confidential chat systems, AIs to provide support. One of the things that we've been experimenting with, I mean, for those of you who worked with us during COVID, when the WhatsApp group limit was only 250, we had a WhatsApp group, and then obviously we exceeded that. And we've experimented with some other modes of running the community and supporting you in between these town halls. We're considering about how we could do that in a more sustainable way, and would love to get some input from the team and from you guys. Are there any other communities that you are a member of where it's working really well for you, and why is it working well? What tools are they using? We're considering things like Slack. We're thinking about, as you guys know, WhatsApp's now launched communities. We're considering using communities and WhatsApp. We're considering using Slack. We're looking at Discord, but the tool is not really the thing. It's the community. It's you guys, the 250 organizations that we work with, and the 1,000 people that have actually thousands of people that have interacted with us before. So please let us know what you'd like to see, what support you'd like to have, what are the tools you think we should be using. We are currently looking at a little bit of research around that. Please contact us on any of these means, and hopefully we'll see you around at one of these conferences, and we hope you have fantastic impact, and we look forward to seeing you next month. And
thank you so much, everyone.